We will be talking about the NHL's opening week, on Left Bench Sports.
Kayvon did Alex. No, the Dolphins are not frauds.
All right, we gotta restart
again.
Bad this defense has been. I do not trust them against the Dolphins at all.
Milwaukee Bucks joining the finals this year.
Put a whopping 52 fantasy points in Miami's route of Broncos country.
My 80-year-old grandmother could have broken more tackles and probably made more plays than Mahomes if they gave her a helmet and some football pads.
Welcome back to Left Bench Sports.
We'll be talking about the Dolphins' loss to the Titans, the Giants' win over the Packers, NFL recap, and MLB free agency.
The Dolphins lost their fourth game and first at home against the Titans.
The final score was 28-27. Heartbreaker for the Dolphins fans.
Yep. And this was their first loss since Week 9 against the defending champs overseas.
All right, let's get into the big picture of this game. Tyreek Hill left with an ankle injury after taking a massive hit. This was a huge, as he is a franchise receiver for the Fins, and was having a historical year, reaching up to almost 2,000 yards as a wide receiver. However, today, after recording this, he has been listed as day-to-day, meaning hopefully he comes back next week, and meaning he might not have a tear.
Yep. And Tua did not have a great week for his standards with just 240 passing yards and no touchdowns. He was sacked 5 times for 32 yards, and he overall was not at his best. He wasn't scrambling like he usually does, and he was taking too many sacks. 5 sacks, not very good.
I mean, he was definitely taking too much time throwing the ball overall, and it just cost him a lot.
It's kind of hard when you don't have your franchise wide receiver who is tearing up every corner week in, week out.
And able to outrun every other person on that field that he goes against.
Yep.
100%. And they're like a package deal, those two.
Yeah. Raheem Mostert had a great week on the ground with 2 touchdowns and 96 rushing yards. He's continuing to show that he's still an elite running back.
Yeah, I can agree. And Mostert, he just keeps getting better and better by the week. And the fact that Tyreek Hill was out, he showed up and, he kind of made up for it. And, I mean, even though they didn't win the game, he still gave his heart out and, got 2 touchdowns. And for what he did, it's pretty good for a running back.
Yeah. With Hill sidelined, Jalen Waddle shined 79 yards on 6 catches, while the Dolphins defense struggled mightily. There was one big play from Zach Sealer. It was a pick 6 in the red zone off Will Levis.
I mean, that play, the fact that a lineman gets a pick 6 is pretty funny. I know it's not the most common occurring thing in a game, but it was just fun to see something like that.
Yeah. He was outstanding in this Titans comeback win with 327 yards and a touchdown.
Will Levis's best wide receiver was DeAndre Hopkins by a mile with 7 catches for 124 yards and a touchdown. I mean, overall, DeAndre Hopkins is also another elite wide receiver in the NFL.
Yep. And it's mind-blowing how this guy's still doing all this stuff at the age of 31.
I mean, yeah, he's getting towards the age of, he's older than most guys now, but he's still proving that he's better than most.
Yep. The Levis-Hopkins connection looks pretty good right now. Obviously they have something going there.
I mean, yeah, these two guys are like, Tua and Tyreek. It's just that, Tyreek's an absolute animal compared to Will Levis and DeAndre.
Yep.
But still, there's a similar connection to them.
Tennessee also got 2 rushing touchdowns from Derrick Henry, even though it was a pretty quiet game for his standards with just 34 yards.
I mean, on the other side of the ball for the Titans, Harold Landry had a huge 3 sacks, an overall mediocre game for the Titans D.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still considered to be shined for that game over his other guys around him, and he was still solid, considering his defense was quiet.
And does this look like Levis has a future in Tennessee?
I mean, I think he could definitely keep a job there. He's a good quarterback. He just throws passes too straight, and most of the time that's going to get him picked off. He needs to change his arc of throw.
That'll do it for this week's Dolphins coverage.
Don't go anywhere. Jesse will be breaking down the Giants game.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Left Bench. Today, I'm extremely happy and excited because despite the odds, Tommy DeVito and the Giants dropped the hammer on Jordan Love and Green Bay on Monday night. A lot going on in this game, both sides fumbling the ball all over the place and every way you can fumble a football. DeVito's agent was in the stands dressed like an assassin, and Love outpassed DeVito and still lost, so let's get into it. DeVito is looking pretty good this week. I think he thoroughly impressed the fans and gave them some hope here and there. Even though his O-line is completely incapable of blocking, he was able to, scramble out and complete the passes. He didn't have some crazy number of yards, though. It was only like 158, but that can be expected because they ran the ball a considerable amount. I think more than they probably passed it. But the Giants were on a roll this week. And if DeVito can carry the momentum from this game to at least the next 3, but ideally 4 weeks, that's if they, that's how they miraculously make it to the playoffs. And if they want it that badly, I think they'll definitely get it. This could be the most underdog story of all time. The only thing that really stands in their way, and this may prove extremely challenging to beat, is Philly, and that's away. I mean, Philly's the only team that can really stop DeVito here, it looks like. And if he continues the way he's been playing, I mean, I think the odds are not terrible. Obviously, they're against the Giants, but I personally think that they can outstand and pull it out of the bag against Philly and Jalen Hurts. I think DeVito's finally settled in his spot, which I will admit I didn't think he would. But, he has, and now he has his confidence with him, which puts the Giants in a good spot right now. However, the only thing that really needs to change for them to win is the Giants' O-line. Philly has a brutal group of pass rushers, as everybody knows, and if they can't hold them off DeVito, the Giants are going to be in for a rough game. But on the other hand, if DeVito can't get the ball out of his hand early enough and cut his O-line a break, it's going to be a disaster as well. This is going to be a tough game, but if both skills in the O-line can really work together and, be on time with each other, I think they can pull it out. They just need to capitalize on controlling the clock and keeping the ball in their hands. And if they can manage to do those two things, they should have a one-way ticket to the playoffs. But anyways, that's all I have for you here today. Don't go anywhere, though. Smitty and Jake will be on in the next couple of minutes with a review of some NFL games that happened this week as well.
Welcome back to Left Bench Sports. As you know, we usually cover college football, but there's no games until the bowl games start. So today we'll be covering some NFL games. First game we got is 49ers versus Seahawks. Smitty, what do you got?
Geno Smith was out for this game, which meant Drew Lock is in as QB. The Seahawks started off pretty strong. DK scoring a touchdown from a pretty nice pass from Drew Lock, along with scoring a field goal, which made it 10-7 at the end of the first.
Yeah, DK's been playing pretty well last 2 games, especially against the Cowboys. He had a huge game. He was also talking trash in sign language.
Yeah, standing on business.
I think we all expected the 49ers to win this game, though.
They also destroyed them 2-3 weeks ago when they played them. Whenever.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Just because they're a powerhouse, and they have so many weapons on offense. I think we all knew Seattle wouldn't hold up much longer. Second quarter, Debo had a huge catch and run for 54 yards to take the lead, and he's been making some big plays lately.
Yeah, in the third quarter, the 49ers just started taking the game away and expanding their lead. Debo can play so many positions for this team. He's such a huge weapon for the 49ers. He's able to score rushing touchdowns, or he was able to score a rushing touchdown in the third.
Yeah, Debo can really play any position. I'm pretty sure he could play defense if he wanted to, but being able to have a receiver that's big enough to also run the ball, that's just huge. Start of the fourth quarter, Purdy hit Kittle for a long 44-yard touchdown, and that made it 28-16. As you said, 49ers have so many weapons. They're just extremely hard to stop. I mean, you have McCaffrey, probably the most dominant, probably the best running back in the NFL. You have Debo, and you have Kittle, and even Brandon Ayuk. They've been hot recently, and with this win, solidified themselves as the number 1 seed in the NFL.
Yeah.
And personally, I think the Niners are my favorite for the NFC Championship. What about you?
I agree with you. I agree that the Niners are probably going to win the NFC Championship and move on to the Super Bowl. But talking about the best players, look at their defense as well. Their defense is the best, probably the best defense in the league. With Nick Bosa, Chase Young, and their secondary, it's just really good.
Being able to have such a good defense and also that many weapons on offense, it's going to be hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
No more scoring the rest of the game, so 28-16 was the final score. And with that, Niners move up to 10-3, and the Seahawks 6-7. That's frustrating for them
Yep.
after a good 5-2 start.
Yeah. Next game we're going to be covering is the Bills versus the Chiefs. It was a good start for the Bills. James Cook broke for a touchdown in the first quarter, and Josh Allen ran for one in the second.
Yeah, I mean, a good start for the Chiefs, of course, or not the Chiefs, the Bills. Of course, the Chiefs were going to counter this with a touchdown before halftime. And by the end of the third, they got another touchdown of their own and made it 17-17.
Yeah. Let's move forward. Let's talk about the big play. Bass makes it 2017 for the Bills with 1:54 left, and the Chiefs get the ball back. Patrick Mahomes makes a pass to Kelsey, and Kelsey throws a lateral out of nowhere to Kadarius Toney, who ran it in for a touchdown. This play was called back for offsides. So, Jake, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, crazy play. The fact that Kelsey out of nowhere just threw that lateral back to Toney, and then
Nobody
Toney
thought that was going to happen.
Yeah, Toney ran it in, and then of course the play was ruined by offsides. Personally, I think that was the refs' fault. I think the Chiefs get I feel like the Chiefs get the edge with the refs usually, but I think the fact that Toney was offsides a few times during the game, and the refs didn't even let him know anything. I feel like that's definitely. I mean, Patrick Mahomes could be upset for that. I feel like he overreacted, though.
Yeah.
What about you? You think that's just a bad play by Toney, or refs could have let him know?
I think it was a bad play by Toney. He's in the NFL. You got to know that. Like, you're a professional player. Like, you got to know the rules.
Yeah, I think it's his job to check, make sure he's onside, but refs also got to let him know before the play.
Yeah.
Last game this Sunday was a rematch of the NFC East rivalry, Eagles versus Cowboys. And to keep it short, Cowboys just dominated.
Yeah. Eagles have just been struggling lately, and it's been slow for the past few weeks with the way they have been playing. Like, I think it's just everybody saw this one coming.
Yeah.
Dallas started off pretty hot. CD scored, and Dak has been balling out this season. Eagles couldn't really get anything going on offense in the first half, leaving only 6 on the board while the Cowboys got 24.
Yeah, Eagles not been really looking good lately. Jalen Hurts hasn't even been able to do much on offense. A lot of people are trying to say the Eagles are frauds. I don't think they're frauds. I think they just need to figure it out. They definitely don't look like the Eagles that we saw, like maybe earlier in the season or even last season. They looked like just a lot better on offense. They're not able to get things going.
Yeah.
But it didn't get much better in the second half. Their only touchdown came from the defense, Jalen Carter, and 3 long field goals from Brendan Aubrey ended it at 33-13.
Yeah. Speak of Brendan Aubrey, he's just been amazing. Hasn't missed one field goal yet. He's 30 for 30 after making history in this game. With this Cowboys dominant win, they move to first in the NFC East, and the Niners get the first seed.
Yeah, Aubrey, that's crazy. 30 for 30. I mean, he has a good
hasn't
career.
missed one yet.
He has a good career ahead of him. I mean, people are already saying GOAT, but you got Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
But we're going to see
And
definitely
also
a good future ahead
young
of him.
Hoku.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely a future ahead of him, though.
Yeah. So that's all we have here for this week. Don't go anywhere. Next up, we have Luke and Myles talking about the MLB offseason so far.
Welcome back to Left Bench Sports. Today we'll be talking about MLB free agency. Luke, so many big moves has happened in such a short amount of time. What's your favorite move so far in the offseason?
Well, as a Yankee fan, obviously it has to be Juan Soto to the Yankees. We gave up a decent amount of pitching. I mean, Michael King, who became a really good starter at the end of last year, Drew Thorpe, another big-time pitching prospect. But for Juan Soto, I mean, anything was really worth it. They also got Trent Grisham, who's a great defender and is going to help maybe being like their fourth outfielder. You can play center fielder, and we don't really have another center fielder on the team. But the short porch of Juan Soto, I mean, I could see a lot of home runs coming for him in New York.
Yeah, I mean, this deal's really going to come down to if they extend him. I mean, if they sign a 12-year contract, we know he's a Boris client, and they don't really do extensions. But if he signs for another 12 years and he's a Yankee for life, that's a home run deal, really. I mean, Michael King, he was a great pitcher at the end of last season. Obviously, you said they stretched him out, they started him, but he was one of the best setup guys in the league. And with Trent Grisham, I really think he's going to be good. He is who he is. He's going to be like their Harrison Bader replacement. He's a good defender, nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, he's just a lefty version of Bader, which is nice because they need lefties in the lineup. But the thing, Soto, yes, if they could extend him. Usually when the Yankees want someone, they try to get a deal done. They usually can get a deal done. But we'll see with Boris. He's going to try to get the most money from wherever he can get money from. That's how he does it. That's how he's going to do it with Soto. See exactly how much money he can get, especially after Ohtani now. I mean, you don't know how much money these players are going to be getting.
Yeah, could you imagine if they have a deferred deal like they have with Ohtani now? Oh, my goodness.
It's ridiculous. He got paid 10 years, $700 million, and he's just only getting like $2 million a year, and then he retires, and then he gets $68 million a year. It's like, what are they doing at this point? They're just going to keep paying more people. Like, they could just keep getting more and more people now if they're not going to be paying the best player in baseball, even close to what he should be getting. Like, they paid him like half of it. At least it's understandable. But they're paying him $2 million a year.
Yeah. I mean, with the CBA tax, it's more like 46, but they're out of pocket only paying him $2,000, which is just crazy.
Yeah, it is. So, Myles, what was your favorite signing or trade this offseason?
Well, as a Red Sox fan, we don't really have much to look forward to, but it's the Tyler O'Neill signing for now, or the trade, I should say. We didn't really give up much to get him. We traded a guy named Nick Robertson and another pitcher. I don't think they'll amass anything, but O'Neill hasn't really done anything in his career outside of the 2021 season. We hope he'll have a bounce-back year. Obviously, a righty playing with the Green Monster. That should help him out a lot. We always kind of lead the league in doubles or at least close to it because of that. He had 34 home runs in 2021. Is a typical Red Sox player. Fool the fans, say, oh, wow, we got somebody who might do something, and then knowing him, he's probably going to get injured or he's just going to flat out stink. But Fenway does play to his strengths. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't rely on him for that much because the past couple of years he hasn't been good. In the beginning of his career, he wasn't good. So he really had 1 year where he was a good player. He had 34 home runs in 2021, but besides that, he hasn't done anything his entire career.
Did anybody know that we traded for Adalberto Mondesi like last offseason? No, because he didn't play a game for us. But it's kind of the same thing. I mean, he was good a couple years ago, just like O'Neill, and then he was injured for the whole season, and now he's just nothing. Well, Luke, I know you want to talk about the Shohei signing. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I already talked about it a little bit. I really do not like how he's only getting $2 million a year. It's just not fair for the rest of baseball, how they're doing it. I mean, as I said before, they could just keep signing more players, keep deferring the money, and just push it off till a later time. Eventually, we'll pay them, but they'll just keep getting more players right now, and then they'll stay under the salary cap, and they'll keep doing whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, it was only a 10-year deal that was reported, and I thought, oh, they're paying him till he's 39, but now they're going to be paying him till he's like 50, so it's going to be like the Bobby Bonilla day, and we'll have a Shohei Ohtani day where he gets like instead of $1 million, it'll be $68 million. So that's it's a good move by the Dodgers. Obviously, getting one of the best players in the league. He's not going to pitch next year, so I mean they'll only get the hitter side of Ohtani, which is still crazy. I mean Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani with Gavin Lux coming back. Jason Hayward they re-signed with all the pitching they have. They could really finally do something outside of 2020.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, yes, he will get his record-breaking $700 million deal, but that won't be happening anytime soon. He'll just keep living off his $50 million a year in endorsements.
Yeah.
Somehow he'll survive with that. And, he won't pitch next year, but he's still one of the best hitters in baseball, so the Dodgers will be fine with him just hitting until he could be back pitching in 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, some of the other guys that are available, I mean, you have Bellinger, obviously, who I know you were looking forward to as a Yankee if Soto didn't work out. Obviously, you have Yoshinobu Yamamoto from Japan, who I think everybody's waiting on to see what you can do with him. I mean, and then you have the three pitchers that could be traded, Corbin Burns, Tyler Glasnow, and Shane Bieber. Luke, what do you think is going to happen first, signing or the trades?
I think Yamamoto signs first. And then teams see where they are, and then they see if they have to give stuff up for a Corbin Burns, or Shane Bieber. I mean, those are two of the better pitchers in baseball. And then Glasnow is also pretty good. He was hurt, but I don't know. Let's see if he can make his way back. And then, yeah, I think other stuff falls into place. I'm not sure about Bellinger because he's like pretty much the only like really big position player left. Everyone else is pitchers, so we'll see where he ends up going, and what happens with him.
Yeah, I think if a team gives up a lot of prospects for, let's say, Corbin Burns, then I think they'll look to sign Bellinger and just have a great hitter and a great pitcher in the same offseason. But Glasnow, I think, is the real wild card in this offseason. Like, we don't even know if he's going to get traded. We don't know if he can stay healthy. But when he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in the league. I mean, he's 6'8" with a devastating curveball. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all there is. They just get signed. Like, they just keep calling people up. They're always good. They go to get contracts and they just trade. I mean, they're talking about trading Rosarena too. So, like, I don't even know what they do. They just always are good somehow. I don't know how they do it. They just always manage to win games.
Yeah, every year I ask my friends for the AL East standings, and the Rays are always like fourth. It's crazy how they always somehow, call somebody up, trade for somebody low-key who hasn't really done much, and then he just goes crazy. It's the Rays way.
Yeah, I mean, they'll stay at the low, payroll, and then they'll just keep winning.
Yeah. Well, that's all for this week, but let's hope for more major moves coming in the next days.